Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Rohit. In this particular video, I'm going to talk about the concept of tokens. So what are tokens? Tokens are nothing but the smallest lexical units present in a program. So let us consider or let us understand the concept of tokens with an example. So if I want to build or construct a house, I need some construction materials like cement, steel, sand, etc. In the same way, if you want to write a Python program, you need to know the different types of tokens present in Python programming language. Now relate constructing a house or a building with respect to writing a program. And these tokens in Python programming language are basically categorized into 5 different classes. One, keyword; second, identifiers; third, literals; fourth, delimiters; fifth, operators. What are keywords? Keywords are nothing but reserved words which has some special meaning or function. In my previous video, I have mentioned that Python supports extensive library. So in order to use any library in Python, you have to first import it. So how can you do that? So in order to import a particular library, you have to first uh, use the keyword import. Using this, you can import a particular library according to your necessity. In the same way, there are many other keywords like if, else, for, while, def, etc. What are identifiers? Identifiers are the names given to variables, functions, user-defined classes, and constants is nothing but identifiers. So, in order to give names to these variables and other to classes, functions, etc., what you have to do is we have to follow a naming convention which is being prescribed by Python. The first rule is that the first character should be an alphabet or underscore. First, second, it should be except the first character. Rest can be alphanumeric. Third, it is case sensitive. Fourth, it should not be a keyword. Fifth, special characters are not allowed. These are the 5 basic rules of identifiers. Apart from this, there are also other rules like if you want to give a name to a class in object oriented programming, the class name should in the name of the class, the first character should be in uppercase. Second is that if at all an identifier is having one leading underscore, then it is known as a private identifier. If at all the same identifier is having two leading underscores, then it is strongly private. If at all the identifier is having two leading underscores and two trailing underscores, then it is nothing but language specified name or language defined name. And apart from these 4 rules, there are also other rules like if you want to give a name to a constant, like for example, in mathematics we have given 3 point a value of 3.14, the name is pi. In the same way, if you want to give a name to any other constant, uh, then it should be in uppercase and followed by underscore. Underscore. And apart from these five, there are also rules like if in object oriented programming, if you create a user defined function, and if at all, if that particular function then the particular function name should be in lowercase and having underscores. Like if you want, if you when let us consider you are creating a function in order to calculate the area of a rectangle, then the name of the function should be like area underscore of underscore rectangle. So this is how identifiers work. And next comes the variables. What are variables? Variables, in short, we can say it as they are reserved memory locations. Why they are called as reserved memory locations? Now, for example, if you have created a variable a with a value of 10. So, whenever we create this variable inside a memory, some memory is being allocated to this particular variable. And the reason they are called a reserved memory locations, because whenever a variable is created, some memory is being reserved for that particular variable. That is the reason variables are known as reserved memory locations. Next, coming to literals. What are literals? Literals are nothing but data given to a variable. So in the above example, we have created a variable which holds the value of 10. So here 10 is nothing but a literal, and these literals are basically classified into 5 different types. One is nothing but the numeric literal. Second is string literal. Third, boolean literal. Fourth, collection. Fifth, dictionary. These are the 5 different types of literals which we can consider in Python programming language. And apart from literals, there is also another concept of delimiters. What are delimiters? Delimiters delimiters are nothing but a group of sequences which we use to basically specify a boundary over a variable or a function. So, in order to understand this better, we can take an example. Let us consider we are having a file of extension CSV, which stands for comma separated file. Comma separated values. And in the same way, there is also another file of TSV which stands for tab separated values. So why are these files called as comma separated values and tab separated values? The reason behind this is whenever you look at a CSV file or a TSV file, the data present inside these files are basically either comma separated or tab separated. So this separation by comma or the data which is being separated by tab, these are nothing but delimiters. Whenever you basically read these kind of files, if at all if at all you get an error, what you have to do is we have to specify an argument known as a delimiter. If at all you are reading a CSV file, then the delimiter should be comma. If at all you are reading a TSV file, then the delimiter should be \t. This is what delimiters are. And apart from delimiters, there is a last token in Python programming language known as operators. What are operators? Operators are nothing but operators are the constructs which basically are used to manipulate the value of the operands. So in layman language, if you are basically doing a addition of 2 and 3 in order to get a result of 5, So whenever you do this, you are basically manipulating the values of these operands. So what exactly operands are? So here 2 and 3 are nothing but operands, and the plus sign between these two is nothing but an operator. So by using this expression, we are getting a result of 5. In other words, we are manipulating the values of operands. So these operators are basically classified into 7 different types. 1. Arithmetic operator. Second, assignment operator. Third, comparison operator. Fourth, logical operator. Fifth, um, bitwise operators. Sixth, membership operators. Seventh, last operator is nothing but the identity operator. So these are the 7 different types of operators present in Python programming language. So what are arithmetic operators? Arithmetic operators are the operators which basically are used to perform arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, floor division, modulo operator, and exponentiation. These are the different arithmetic operators present in Python programming language. So what does the addition operator do? Addition operator basically adds two numbers. So in our childhood we have learned four fundamental operators like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. But what is modulo operator? What is exponentiation operator? And what is floor division? Now, in order to understand the difference between the division operator and the floor division operator, let us consider an example. Let us consider you are dividing a number 5 with 2. Whenever you divide this, you get a result of 2.5. In the same way, if you divide 5 by using the floor division with 2, then what you are going to get is the answer will be 2. So this floor division, what exactly it does is it will truncate the decimal part of the result. This is the main difference between the normal division and the floor division. So what is modulo operator? Modulo operator, so whenever you basically divide a number with another number, it is going to return the reminder. So in order to understand it better, so you are dividing 5 with 2. How many times does 5 go in? So 2 twos are 4. So the remainder is 1. This is how modulo operator works. So if you want exponentiation operator, it works like when for example, if you want to find the value of 5 squared, so you can, in Python programming language, you can specify it as like this. Then whenever you specify like this, it is going to give the value of as 25. Else you can also find the cube value, which is nothing but 125. This is how exponentiation works in Python programming language. These are nothing but arithmetic operators. Second, next is nothing but the assignment operators. What are assignment operators? In in our regular way, what we'll do is whenever we basically do any arithmetic operations like a plus b, we store the result of this in another variable. But whereas in assignment operators, what exactly happens is the sum of this will get stored in one of the operand. So there are different assignment operators like plus equal to, minus equal to, into equal to, division equals to, um, floor division equals to, etc. So what is this equivalent to? So plus equal to is equivalent to a is equals to a plus b, which can also be written as a plus equal to b. So so whenever you do addition of a and b, the sum is going to get stored in the same variable a. So this is how assignment operators work in Python programming language. Next, coming to comparison operators. Comparison operators like greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, not equal to. So what are these comparison operators? Comparison operators are the operators which are basically used to compare two quantities, whether this quantity 1 is greater than quantity 2 or quantity 1 is greater than less than quantity 2. So in the same way you will. So if at all, if the quantity 1 is greater than quantity 2, then it is going to return true, else it is going to return false. This is how comparison operators work. Fourth is nothing but the logical operators. In logical operators, there are only three operators like AND, OR and NOT. So AND becomes true only if both the conditions specified in this operator becomes true. Let us consider we have taken a variable a which is equals to 3, b is equals to 7, c is equals to 9. If at all I have given a is equals to a is greater than b and b is less than c. Here according to the variables, a is having 3. 3 is greater than 7. Is 3 is greater than 7? No. And b, 7 is less than 9. But what exact, according to the definition of AND operator, what should happen is this condition and this condition should be true. If both the conditions are true, then the overall result will be true, else it will be false. So the answer to this condition will be false because only one condition is getting satisfied, but the other condition is not getting satisfied. For OR, in OR, even if one condition is true, the whole condition will be true. So what exactly is happening is here one condition is not true and the other condition is true. So the overall solution will be true. Not operator will completely work in a different manner. If at all you give input as 0, the output will be 1, and if at all you give input as 1, the output will be 0. This is how it works. Uh, these are logical operators. Fifth, bitwise operators. What are the different bitwise operators present? Bitwise AND, bitwise OR, bitwise OR, uh, bitwise complement, left shift operator, and right shift operator. It is not called as bitwise complement. It is just a complement operator. So bitwise AND, bitwise OR, bitwise OR. Bitwise and bitwise OR work in the similar way as normal logical operator and OR. And XOR will work so according to the truth table of OR, whenever the input is 0, the output will also be 0. Whenever the input is 0 1, the output will be 1. Whenever the input is 1 0, the output will also be 1. Whenever the input is 1 1, the output will be 1. This is how, because AND operator or operator, basically what it does is it will add each and every input. 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 0 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, which can be written as 1 0. So that is the reason that is the reason 1 will be written and 0 will be carried. So that is the reason why 1 is output. So all these AND, OR and NOT gates, like, and also XOR gate, we have learnt in our engineering in the subject called as switching theory and logic design. So now I am going to talk about the complement operator, how it is going to work. The complement operator will be working in similar manner to as that of not operator, in the same way, because Whenever you give an input, it becomes whenever you give 0 as an input, it becomes 1. Whenever you give input as 1, it becomes 0. This is how complement works. Then what about left shift and right shift operators? Left shift operators are the operators which basically shifts the left side bits by a number which is having a general form x left shifted by n. So x is the number which we are taking as an input, and n is the number of bits that has to be shifted. This is left shift operator, and the bits which are left empty are being discarded and in the left shift operator. But whereas in right shift operator, here also x is nothing but the number which we give as an input, and n is nothing but the number of bits which are to be shifted right side. So in right shift operator, there is a rule: if x value is positive, then the discarded bits will get replaced by 0. If at all the value of x is negative, then the discarded bits get replaced with the value of 1. This is how a left shift and the right shift operator works. Apart from this bitwise operator, there is also one more operator known as the identity operator. There are two types of identity operators. One is not in and another one is in. Let us consider we have created a string Rohit, and this in this string I just want to check whether character I is present or not. So in order to do that, what I'll do is um, I in str, sorry, I in str. So whenever you run this program, you'll get it as true, because this particular character I is present in that particular string. And I'm going to show each and every programmatic example which I'm taking here in my practical sessions. And not in will work in the opposite direction as of in. And apart from identity operators, there is one more operator called as the membership operator. Is There are two types again, is and is not. So how does this work? Let us consider a is equal to 5. This is a variable, and b is equal to 5. Sorry, a is equal to 5 and b is equal to 5. So whenever you do a comparison operator between these two variables, whether a is equal to b, then we get a value as true, output as true. If at all we use the is operator, that is the membership operator, what we get is whenever we use this, a is b, we'll get false. Why? What is the reason? But the variable in the value of a is 5 and the value of b is also 5, but when we run this we are getting true, but when we are running this we are getting false. Why? What is the reason behind this? So whenever these variables get created, what exactly happens is this variable will be pointing to one memory location and this will be pointing to another memory locations. So whenever you use a membership operator between these two variables, what exactly happens is so as these variables are pointing to two different memory locations, that is the reason it is returning as false. But whereas in this case it is basically doing a equality check whether the value of a and b are equal or not. So these are the tokens available in Python programming language. Thank you for watching this video. Please do subscribe the channel if you have not subscribed, and please hit the bell icon for more notifications and videos. Stay safe, keep learning and keep growing. Bye bye.